Welcome to another episode of Chattin with Staxx. I'm your host, Bill Staxx, and today I got Damien, the Omen, Trites. What's up, man?
What's up, brother? How are you?
I'm good.
Good,
I
man.
think Gray Line's gonna join us in a little bit.
Good. Yesterday we did a little bit of a video, but what had happened was when I had went back and rewatched it, my service was very choppy because I was
Yeah,
walking around outside with the Wi-Fi on like an idiot, and I figured I'd give you a better one today and do it the right way. You know what I
I
mean?
appreciate it, man.
It's all good.
So a lot of people, a lot of people reached out to me, and some people don't know where you're from. They think you're from Boston. They think you're from New York. You want to tell the people where you're from and and how you
Yeah,
grew up?
yeah. So I mean, I've told this story before, but I'll you know, reiterate it a little bit. I was born and raised in Springfield, Massachusetts. It's where I spent the majority of my life, but I did live in Boston for 6 years, and I lived in New York for 11 years of my life. So I spent most of my life in Massachusetts, but I did spend 11 years in New York as well. So I lived in South Boston for 6 years. That's where my kid's mother's from, Southie. And New York, I lived in Long Island for 11 years. I went to Locust Valley High School, right by Glen Cove, New York. So,
Oh, you went to high school in New York?
yeah, I went to high school in New York. So I moved there when I was 13 years old. My father got a job in New York, and I moved.
That's
So that's,
hard, man, because you got
yeah.
friends and stuff. You're
No,
like,
it's really what turned me into a fighter and got me and made me, become a nasty human being at one point in my life is because I just got tortured and bullied for so many years. I just decided I had had enough at one point, and I decided to fight back. And that's when I started training boxing and got into combat sports. And was just like a street tough kid, hanging out on the corner, drinking, smoking, fighting all the time. The Wu Tang era, bro. I say it all the time. When Wu Tang Clan was at its height, all the kids were on the corner rapping, freestyling, slapboxing. Who was the biggest, baddest, toughest guy on the block. So that was kind of the era I grew up in. And times have changed, man. Times have changed.
drastically,
You
man.
got these kids like Sonny Money running around that never been in a fist fight in their life and calling out a guy that has 17 professional fights. I mean, it's just laughable. It's a joke. I mean, back when I was 16 years old, I would have slapped that kid and his head would have flied off his shoulders, let alone now. I mean, it's just I don't even want to bring the kid's name up, but you almost got to kind of feel bad for the kid. It sounds like, and from what I understand, the kid's got a bad drug problem. He's very easily influenced, and he's being you know
The
pulled
puppet.
he's a puppet, so
Yeah.
he's a puppet, and he really doesn't make any sense because the strings that he's being pulled by is John Alite, and John Alite's a rat. So I don't know. He's a very confused kid. He's running around calling everyone rats, but he's being puppeteered by the biggest rat, one of the biggest rats. So I just don't understand it. It's laughable to me. If I ever seen him in Long Island, New York, I would just let him hit me as hard as he could with something, and then I would just finish the job. I would never assault him because he would go right to the police. It's just funny.
Yeah.
All these kids, they talk crazy until you put your hands on them, and then they go right to the cops. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
I've been in situations where I've had charges pressed on me. I've had to pay lots of medical bills because I've done multiple damage to people's faces, because again, I'm a trained professional. When I hit people, they get hurt. Things break, noses, eye sockets. I knock out teeth. I do damage when I hit people. So
You
it's
do you remember your first like street fight outside of the ring? Like so when you were getting bullied and the transformation was starting where you're like, fuck that, I'm gonna fight back. Do you remember like your first fight?
Yeah. I told the story. I told the story before, but I'll tell it again. Basically, yeah, I had this kid that was bullying me, and he used to follow me every day out to the bus stop and stuff like that, and just antagonize me. I was the new kid. I was from Massachusetts. I didn't know anybody from New York. I had no friends,
Yeah.
and I just one day he was bothering me, followed me to the bus. He was flicking the back of my ear. They used to call me Dumbo. I had big ears when I was a kid, and I wasn't a big kid. And I was always the type of kid that if I started crying, that would mean that I was completely enraged. And I was like, when I used to get so mad to the point where I was crying, it was like a scary thing. I would just like snap like that, and I would just not remember anything that I would do, and I would break shit and hit people with stuff and black out, you know.
Yeah.
So basically, all I remember is that I was crying. Basically, I turned around and I hit the kid with everything I had. And I remember the kid had braces and he was laying on the floor, and his teeth were actually hanging from his mouth, but the only thing that was holding them in place was the wire from his braces. Like his teeth were actually knocked out, but the wire was keeping them in his,
Holding them
not
there.
in his
Yeah.
mouth, but holding them in like that place. And I just was like screaming, I was crying, I was going crazy, and his friends were like just literally just like, wow, that was like they were
Big
scared.
crowd started
Yeah,
forming
yeah,
shit.
there was a huge crowd, and I was going crazy, and nobody seemed to want to do anything, and I just basically like got on the bus, went in the back of the bus, and then that's when the principal came on the bus, removed me from the bus, brought me into the office. I got suspended for a week. You know, my mother was, you know, actually happy because she knew what I was going through, and you know, my mother had a mentally disabled brother, so growing up, she had to defend him, so she knew that I was having a really hard time. And my father was happy that I finally had stood up for myself. And that was kind of the transformation of me becoming a different kind of person, you know, a violent person, and someone that was, I liked the violence. I liked it, you know. Now I was starting to give out beatings instead of just taking them, you know. But I was never a guy that bullied people. I was never a guy that went around and looked for trouble, you know.
Yeah.
Um, I was more of a guy that would, you know, handle beefs if they came to me. I was never a guy that really went out and looked for trouble. You know, I just happened to get into some beefs, and things happen in life, you know.
Now, what kind of reception did you get when you went back to school? How did the other kids treat you after that fight?
You know, it's so funny. It's so funny. The kid actually became my friend, and that whole group of friends became like my brothers. It's funny. This is a story that I don't tell much, and I never even told it on a podcast. But the group of friends that I became friendly with turned out to be my best friends in the world. And you know, still to this day, I keep in touch with one of them that lives in Long Island, and he's my dear friend, and he's a certified psychopath. He's a nut job, but he's one of the most loyal people I ever met in my life. But when I was 16 years old, this group of friends that I became so close to, one of my friends actually committed suicide, and that's kind of what really sent me over the edge. Um, I didn't know how to handle death, and I seen death at an early age, you know, and that was a really hard thing to go through because at 16 you're not even mentally developed to handle that type of tragedy, you know. I mean,
Yeah.
I was the last one that was with him when it happened, and I don't even really like to talk about it because to relive the whole thing was really just like a nightmare. And after that had happened, it kind of spiraled me into a horrible direction. I didn't want to live no more. I wanted to rob everybody. I wanted to beat people up. I wanted to hurt people because I was just so lost. You know what I mean? I didn't know how to handle it. I had no support. My parents didn't understand it. They never went through anything like this before.
Yeah.
Therapist, what am I going to do? I'm not going to go to therapy. I don't want to listen to nobody. I'm a 16-year-old kid. When you're 16, you think you know everything anyway. Nobody's going to tell you shit when you're
Yeah.
16.
I was the same way, man.
Oh,
Same way.
so it was just a really really hard experience. And you know, at an early age I was diagnosed with bipolar and anxiety, and I have ADHD. So the combination of all these things that I had going on just became, you know, horrible. It was a
And then
horrible
if you had
situation.
alcohol on top of that,
Oh yeah, alcohol,
oh,
drugs. I
yeah.
mean, you know, I ended up in jail, and I ended up in trouble, and you know, I just became more of an animal, really. You know, I
Do you
was,
remember your first time getting arrested?
yeah, yeah, I actually got arrested. So it's funny, the kid that committed suicide, my best friend Kevin Deal, me and him beat this kid up, and we stomped him out, and I got arrested for assault and battery with a shod foot. In New York, when you stomp someone on the ground, it's considered a shod foot. It's a way more, like, it's a worse charge than if you.
Never heard that before.
Yeah, so shod foot, assault and battery with a shod foot is what I got arrested for. I had already had other crimes under my belt at that point, and the judge got sick of seeing me, and he gave me a pretty rough thing. He gave me 36 months, so I did 36 months. I got out. When I was like 18, something like that, and I was an 18-year-old animal, bro. I lifted weights every day the whole time I was in there. I did push-ups. I hit the bag. I mean, I was in incredible shape when I was, 18 years old. So I came out, and then obviously things didn't get better for me. They just went worse. I started to get involved more with the streets, being
Yeah.
around more hardened criminals and more people that have been around the street life. And I gravitated towards that because it's the only thing I knew.
Yeah.
My parents got sick of me at that point too, and they threw me out. And that was another hard thing, having to find my way, sleeping on people's couches, being homeless.
Yeah.
I went through that, and it wasn't because they didn't love me. It was because they just couldn't. Nobody can control me. I was uncontrollable. So
Kev just popped in. I'll bring him in.
okay, cool.
What's up, man?
What's up, fellas?
My man,
What's good?
what's up?
So he started his story, and he's pretty much at when he started fighting back and started getting in trouble.
Yep.
And we'll just take it from there, man.
Damien's story is really good, bro. It's a really good story.
So I'll never forget it. This one day I was on the street corner after I had got home, and I was in New York. I was on a corner that we all used to hang out on, and this guy came up to me and he goes, "Hey, what's your name?" He came up to me, and I was like, I told him my name, and that sort of stuff. He's like, "Look, man, I always see you standing around here. You guys are always up to no good." He's like, "Look, I run a boxing gym and at the PAL, the Police Activity League. I would love for you to come by and start working out, because I heard you're a tough kid, and you should come to the boxing gym,
Where is that? Is it in New York or
It's in Glen Cove, New York, Long Island, New York. So Glen Cove, New York is like a city in Long Island. There's only 2 cities on Long Island that are population of a city. So it was a small city, but Long Beach and Glen Cove are both in Nassau County. They're the only 2 towns in Long Island that are considered a city.
Yeah.
So the PAL Boxing League was by the projects in Glen Cove. So when I went there, I was like the white kid in the gym, really. And, they had me sparring with professional boxers, man, when I was like 16 years old, because I had naturally gifted heavy hands. And I was like I was knocking out grown men in the gym. I was like abusing people in the gym, beating the fuck out of people. Don't get me wrong. I had my hands full too. Don't get me wrong. There were guys in there that used to whip my ass too. But, I was known as a kid that knew how to throw my hands, in New York, the block, in the gym. But I wasn't ready to be serious. I was still in the streets, smoking weed, drinking.
Were you getting into a lot of fights on the street too?
Yeah. Yeah,
As this time was going on?
I was known to be the problem solver even back then. I was known to be the guy that if my boys had a beef, I was going to go shoot the fair one for them, and represent for my town. I mean, back then, the way it was you hung out on a corner, and if people came to that block and they weren't from that block, we would fight them. That's the way it was. You fight town versus town, like. Bayville would fight against Oyster Bay. Oyster Bay would fight against Locust Valley. Locust Valley would fight against Glen Cove. It's the way it was. That's the era that it was. We used to go to the feast, the Italian festivals. Like, we'd go to the Italian festival in their town, and there'd be a huge rumble. It'd be like, our crew versus their crew. This is the way it was back then. Fighting every day was a normal thing. Violence was a normal thing. So
did you say it was through PAL? The organization is PAL.
PAL League, yeah.
Yeah, I played in a few golf tournaments through the Hartford Police Department. They raise money for them, so yeah, that's a good organization, man.
Yeah, it was, man, and but I wasn't ready at the time. So then I moved back to Massachusetts. my parents decided to come back to Massachusetts, and I said, you know, maybe it is time for me to get a fresh start and to move on with my life and get away, because I was headed in a direction where I was going to end up in jail for a long time, or I was going to end up dead or whatever. So my parents decided to move back to Massachusetts because they couldn't afford to live in New York anymore.
How old were you at that point?
I was like, I want to say I was like 23. Yeah, somewhere around there. So I had a bunch of amateur boxing fights under my resume already and stuff like that. And then when I moved to Massachusetts, I'll never forget. I was living with my mother, and I just couldn't do it anymore. Me and my mother were at each other's throats. I was at an age where I didn't want to be with her anymore. I had just came out. I had just came out of jail. Like I didn't want to live with her anymore and be in her house and have her telling me what the fuck to do. I was
Under
never that kind
rules.
of, yeah. I
tough.
never followed rules. I was always very against rules and, you know, come home at this time, do this, do that. No. I couldn't do it. So I decided to go back to I decided to go to Job Corps. And in Job Corps, I wanted to get my high school diploma. I took up carpentry, and that's where I met my baby's mother. She was from South Boston. So basically,
Do you think Job Corps helped?
you know what? At the time, it did. It did help. It did help because it got me out of that environment. It did help me. To be honest with you, in a way, it might have saved my life, because who knows the direction I could have went in if I didn't go to Job Corps. Not only that, I wouldn't have my son today. If I didn't go to Job Corps, I wouldn't have my son. That's where I met my kid's mother. I met her there. You know, I fell in love with her. We were going strong. Everything was great. You know, and I thought I was going to marry the girl. You know, I don't want to get too much into the things that happened or stuff like that, because it's kind of personal. But you know, she's got some issues, and you know, I have custody with my parents of my son, and you know, some things happened, you know, with her, and I wish her the best, but it was rough, man, you know, going through that. I mean, I was fighting, and that's when I came back to Boston and I was with her full time, is when I started to train jiu-jitsu. I said, well, now I know how to use my hands. I want to learn how to fight on the ground. You know, I used to watch the old Hoist Gracie tapes and stuff like that, and watch the grappling aspect of it. And it intrigued me, because you'd see these big guys getting choked out by people that were small.
Smaller guys,
By smaller guys, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? I need to learn this. This is amazing. It intrigued me to want to learn how to fight on the ground. So I went to a jiu-jitsu academy, and I was training with my friend John Doomsday Howard, who's a UFC fighter. He fought in the UFC, and he's one of my best friends. He was in Job Corps with me. That's how I met him. So we started training at an academy, and like a year or two into it, I got my blue belt in jiu-jitsu from Hoist Gracie, and then that's when I had my first professional fight, and I won my first professional fight by submission, and I just got hooked.
Are you working at this time? Like, are you?
I was a bouncer. I was a bouncer. I was a bouncer. I was a construction worker. I always did like labor jobs. Like I always did like hard labor, mostly construction, landscaping, these type of jobs. At night, I would bounce. During the day, I would be in the gym. Like, so for example, there were times where I was working construction, and then there were times where I was just bouncing at night. Like when I started to get more serious about my career, that's when I was only bouncing at night, and I was chasing the dream of being a professional fighter during the day, and
training all day.
Yeah, just training all day. And then after I would get out of the gym, I would go to these bars in Boston, and I would bounce, you know, at college bars and stuff like that. And
that's crazy. We were bouncing at the same time, bro.
Yeah. So then, I was actually bouncing in Springfield too, man. So it's funny that you had mentioned yesterday that you were at the Hot Club, and
Hot Club and Fat Cats.
Yeah, my cousin Frankie Bodge used to be a bouncer at a Hot Club, and you know, I know that club well. I've had my experiences there. I used to bounce at McCaffrey's on Main Street in Springfield. That was a rough bar. So, look, I don't glorify the things I did in the bar life or in the streets or anything like that, because it's just not a good life. You know, we talked a little bit about it yesterday, and look, I'm all about energy and karma. And if you go around hurting people all constantly and stuff like that, eventually it's going to be you that gets hurt because nobody's invincible. You know, at the end of the day, nobody's invincible. You know, I see all this bullshit. Who's the biggest, baddest, toughest fucking guy on the internet? Who cares, man? There's always somebody tougher, bigger, stronger. I try to be humble as I possibly can, but it's very hard when people talk crazy or they talk out of school and they talk about things that they know nothing about. You know, you didn't live my life, so you can't judge me based on the way I am. You know, I've been punched in the face a lot. I have a lot of trauma. I've had a lot of concussions that, you know, in the gym, even before I was in any MMA fight. So for people to judge me or to judge anybody, you know, they need to take a look in the mirror, man, you know?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Do you have any stories where maybe somebody was at the bar and they were being a bully and you had to take them out of the bar, or any crazy stories from bouncer days?
Yeah, I have. So the bar that I used to bounce at in Springfield was called McCaffrey's, okay? And it was, you know, I'm not going to get into who owned it or anything like that. It doesn't really matter, the particulars of it. But it was a rough bar. And the bar was set in the south end of Springfield. Now, the south end of Springfield back in the day used to be all Italians, okay?
Mm-hmm.
That area used to be controlled by the Italians. With that being said, so you had a mixed crowd, right? You had the white college kids, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you had the hood motherfuckers, right? You had the black and the Spanish hood motherfuckers, right?
Right.
Now, when you mix those two crowds, it's never good, right? Because the college kids, the white college kids, all they want to do is fight. And the hood motherfuckers, all they want to do is go in and take these dudes' girlfriends, right? So what happens is you get the two together, and it's a recipe for disaster. So every night it was something new.
It always was.
But I can tell you one story that sticks out in my head. And we used to have a lot of off-duty cops that used to hang out in these bars, right? And
would they be working or just
no?
Some of them are. Look, some of them are. Some of them aren't.
But some of them you have details in there because you got to remember, it's if you're a bar owner, you're a business owner, to have a cop being on detail and standby in there, liability wise, it's good for you because if something happens, they have a cop that was a witness to something that happened rather than have no witnesses.
Right.
They're protecting the liability because people love to sue bar owners. If you get into a beef in a bar and somebody punches you in the face and you go down, you got stitches in your mouth, you can say, oh, well, I'm going to sue the bar owner for this. This happens all the time.
All the time.
So I had a friend of mine who was an off-duty cop, a guy that I grew up with, okay, and he used to hang out at the bar. Now, he knew that I was on the opposite side of things. You know, he knew I was a goon, I was a bouncer, whatever the case may be. But look, where I'm from, either you were a cop or you were involved in the streets, right? Most people that I grew up with either went one of two ways. They went towards the cop or they went towards the streets. Right. A lot of people will say the same thing. It's like in the movie Departed, it's the truth. We can be cops or we can be gangsters. When you're facing a loaded gun, what's the difference, right? That was one of the quotes in that movie. Yeah. And it's true because I had a lot of friends that I grew up with that were in the streets, but then they chose to go the criminal. They chose to become cops, straighten out their lives, and go that route. COs, like even you, for example, Kevin. I know a lot of guys that became COs too.
But anyway, they were involved with the streets first.
Yeah,
right?
I wasn't necessarily involved in the streets, but
man, just because I know. Yeah, exactly. I know plenty of cops and guys that were involved in shit, and that. I'm not going to even get into it, but there's cops that are around. Look, crooked cops.
Oh, yeah.
It goes on, especially in small cities. You know, Springfield is notorious for corruption and the police force and stuff like that. It happens everywhere.
Yes.
Anyway, so I had a friend of mine who was a cop that was in the bar that night, and I was standing on top of the tables because I used to stand on top of there used to be tables in the back of the bar. And when you stood on the tables, you could see the whole crowd. And I used to like that because I could see if something would pop off. Yep. And I had my back to the wall. I never used to like people behind me when I'm in that environment because I've been hit with bottles. I've been hit with things and stuff like that. Yeah, I've been hit. Yeah, I've been hit with bottles. I've been sucker punched before. I've been in tons of situations.
Damien would have
Anyway,
made a
so
great CO with that mentality because that's what we were always taught. You never let anyone
yeah,
walk behind you ever.
exactly. I'm
Just
like that in
101.
restaurants too. When I'm
Yep.
in a restaurant, I always have my
The
back to me.
back
There's no one
booth.
anyone
Yep.
behind me. That's
Yep.
just the way I am. So
Yep.
anyway, so I have my back to the wall and I'm overlooking the crowd and I see this guy going up to everybody's girlfriends. He was a white guy, not that it matters, but he was going up to everybody's girlfriend, right? And he was getting people aggravated, right? So I had several people coming up to me telling me about the guy, pointing the guy out. So now I got my eyes on this guy, right? So I go over to my friend, I go to the other side of the room, and now I had a tight-knit crew. The guys that I bounced with were my guys that I hung around in the street with. Like one of them's name was Mike Chapin, and another guy, Nate Carvalho. One of them's in a motorcycle club. I'm not going to mention the motorcycle club he's in. And another one is just a tough guy, right?
Mhm.
But these were my guys. Like if some shit was to pop off, I'd go and get them, and they're tough fuckers, you know. If we're gonna fight, we're gonna fight together. We're not gonna fight alone. Also, if I think I'm gonna have an issue, I gotta make sure somebody's watching my back. So when I grab the guy, I don't get sucker punched. Next thing you know, I'm fighting 4 people.
Right.
I don't care who you are. You get sucker punched, blindsided, you're fucked, bro. That, you know. So anyway, so this guy is standing there. He's dancing with this guy's girl, and the cop that I'm friends with is at the bar, and he's right behind the guy that's starting the trouble. So I go get my guys. We come back. We walk over. Now my friend stands behind him. I stand in front of him, right? And I'm like, "Yo, bro, you gotta go, right?" Yo, so tell me this. This is so fucking funny, bro. You're gonna die. So the guy takes his fucking jacket off, right? He takes his jacket off like he's a tough guy, right?
Yeah.
Big guy?
Yeah, big guy.
Yeah.
So listen. Now he thinks because he's big, he takes his jacket off. We're gonna be like, "Ooh, scary," you know.
Yeah.
He doesn't even know. He doesn't have a clue what's about to happen to him, right? So he fucking goes. He takes his jacket off and he puts it on there was like a hanger over on the wall, right? Then he walks back and he sizes me up, right? He gets in my face like he's sizing me up, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I give him I body lock him right from the front, right? So he can't. So I have his hips. I'm controlling his hips, and he can't punch me. I have my head tight to him, right?
Got him like
And then you
I clenched him, right? So I have his body, and I have my head pressed against his body, so he couldn't hit me even if he wanted to, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So I pick him up and I turn him around and I slam him on the table, right? The table breaks and falls over. Now he's on the floor and I'm wrestling with him on the floor, right?
Mm-hmm.
We get him into a prone position where he's laying flat. We have him face down. I'm sitting on his upper body and my friend are controlling his feet.
Yep.
Yeah.
We duct tape his feet, right? We get duct tape. I swear to God, this is a true story. Now, mind you, the whole bar is watching this, right? We duct taped his feet, right?
Mm-hmm.
So then when we duct taped his feet, now we get control of his hands and we put him on the side like this, and we duct tape the top of his body. Now we're rolling him in the bar, yo. It's the funniest.
Holy shit! It's like hog tying him.
Yo, people are laughing, everything, right?
I'm laughing right now.
So now we got one guy in the middle, one guy in the front by his head, and one guy on his feet, right? And we're holding him, right? And he's flat he's face down flat, but he can't move. He's just going crazy. He's screaming, he's moving, we're holding him. He's
fucking screwed.
Yo, so the cop behind looks at us and just starts like shaking his head, like laughing, right?
Yeah.
This is where it gets fucking hilarious. So now we're walking him through the bar as fast as we possibly can because we're going to give him the old 1, 2, 3 and throw him in the street, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So we get to the fucking door and I'm like, open the door. And fucking my buddy goes, just use his fucking head. So we boom, he goes out, yo, his head, fucking blood everywhere, right? So we go 1, 2, 3. So we throw him. Now he's in the street, right? He's in the street flat. Now you have all the little goons that are outside smoking cigarettes. It's like Bronx Tale where they're all hitting them, right?
Yeah.
You can't make this shit up, but this is like the shit that happens because what people don't realize is when you fuck around in a bar where not only do the bouncers have friends, everybody knows everybody. It's like you're not going to make it out of there. You're not.
No.
It's not going to be good for you because we know everybody. It's like, okay, you got to worry about the 3 bouncers, but you also got to worry about all the people that we're friends with that we see on a daily basis that are regulars. You know, that are going to turn a blind eye, like the cop that was in there. He turned a blind eye. He acted like he didn't even see anything. This kind of stuff used to happen all the time in these places. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I mean, that's one of many stories. I mean, I've been sucker punched. I've been hit with bottles. I mean, you know, it's part of a bouncer lifestyle. Kevin can tell you that, you know?
Yeah, it always boggled my mind, especially if you were from out of town and you thought you can come into a stranger's bar, so to speak, and run your mouth or, you know, try to run your game on some guy's woman who's probably well known in the area. You know, it happens so much. It always, I would say 98% of the time, fights would generate over a woman.
Oh, dude, the worst was when I worked at Anthony's. I worked at Anthony's.
Oh,
do you know my dear friend Vinny Canavan?
Yes, I do. I know that.
Vinny Canavan's my tattoo artist. Okay, he's a guy that used to manage all the strip clubs around here. Okay, and he's a fucking tough fucker. He was with Anthony DeLavo back in the day. If you don't know who Anthony DeLavo was, Anthony DeLavo, they called him Bates. They called him Norman Bates. Okay. He was a made guy. He was a made guy in the Genovese family, and he was a stone cold fucking killer, bro. He used to run the Big E. He used to run the Big E in West Springfield. We have Big E here, but
that's coming up.
He had control of all the Big E. He used to run it. If you ever seen Anthony DeLavo, right, in person, he looked like a regular construction worker, right? He didn't. You would never know that he was anybody, right? But he was a fucking killer, right?
Wow.
Anyway, so Vinny Canavan and I used to at one time. I used to work at Anthony's with him while he used to manage it. That was when I used to work in the strip club. Is when I seen the most crazy shit. I mean, girls overdosing in the bathroom, fucking girls fighting every day.
Yeah.
People, dude, fights, stabbings, murders. I've seen it all, bro. I've seen people get shot in the parking lot at Anthony's, like crazy shit.
Have you seen any situations where people pull guns out in the club?
Oh yeah,
I have.
Yeah, dude. We, bro. So where Anthony's is located. The people that go to Anthony's, Anthony's is in Chicopee, Mass. So Chicopee is like a borough of Springfield. So we got Springfield, we got West Springfield, Chicopee, Agawam. Then we have Holyoke. Okay, Holyoke. For people that think that Springfield is bad, Holyoke is fucking 1,000 times worse. It's probably one of the worst cities in Massachusetts.
If you're coming up from Connecticut, do you hit Holyoke first?
No. You got to go through Springfield to get to Holyoke. Okay, but Holyoke, it makes Springfield look like a fucking like it's bad, right? So mostly all the people that used to hang out at Anthony's were from Holyoke. Okay, so what happens is you get the Holyoke gang members that don't get along with the Springfield gang members, and you got to remember these events, like I talked about last night. It's who's the biggest gangster, who's got the most money, who's the biggest drug dealer. This one's a Latin King, that one's a Solid. That one's a La Familia. This one's a Blood. That one's a Crip. This guy's affiliated with the wise guys. You know, look,
East Side Boys.
Yeah, I mean, look, that's the way that it is at the clubs. At these clubs, they get a VIP table, and you know things escalate over women, and you know it's just that's the environment. You know.
Yeah, like because like you were saying, it's like a smaller city, so people are like, "Oh, I'm the man here." Right?
Yeah. I mean, look, it's a smaller city, but we have all the same things that go on in the big cities. I mean, you know, all the same things that happen in the big cities happen in Springfield. Murders, you know, all that stuff. Like, I mean, you know, Springfield's no different than New York. It's just the population's different. It's no different.
Springfield is where that lady was messing around with the drug tests and all that, right? The drug lab.
That was it was Springfield. She was in the feds though, right? Wasn't she messing, or was it the state? There was a
drug tester or something.
A drug tester that was in charge of basically handling all the results and all the evidence. So any of the drugs that came in,
yeah. Wait, hold on. No, and that was a
she
guy.
tampered with evidence.
That was a guy, and it wasn't a woman.
Those two girls.
No, there was a woman too.
Well, no, there was another. Okay, then I'm thinking of someone. I'm thinking of something else. There was a guy that was a cop that was stealing from the evidence room. I thought that's what you were talking about.
No, this is more of these were actual like in the process court cases, and these are the the evidence that's tied to those cases.
Oh, okay.
And she was tampering with God only knows how many people's cases there. And what did they ended up having to do, Billy? Didn't they overturn like over 78% or 80%?
Some of them
they had to release so many, Damien. It was unreal.
Forging drug tests, freaking drugs.
Yeah,
some of the evidence was using them. It was crazy shit.
That's nuts. But yeah, no, man. I mean, look, I've been through my share of stuff in my life. I fought professionally for 10 years. And during my fighting career, I mean, you can just imagine the lifestyle I had, man. When you win a fight, you go to an after party. When you lose a fight, you look. It was a roller coaster ride. It was great. I loved it. I loved every minute of it. It was an experience that not many people get to experience, living that type of life, being a fighter.
And a quick tip for all you bar goers, everybody likes to go into bars and talk shit and try to run game and think they're tough. You should have been observant enough to notice Damien's cauliflower ear. When you see that going on with somebody, they're into jiu-jitsu. They are either a wrestler or a jiu-jitsu, and you're going to get your ass handed to you most likely, especially if they get a hold of you, just like how he did. He got the body lock. He got the body control.
Yeah, exactly.
Put him into a bad position to where he wasn't going to ever get out of it. He's done.
The way I look at it is this too, is what people don't realize is that there's not one fight on the internet that you'll see of me ever getting punched in the face to where I go down on the floor and the guy gets on top of me and finishes the fight. It never happened. So do these people honestly think that if they hit me outside of the ring that it's going to be any different? No, all you're going to do is aggravate me and get me into a rage situation where if I do get you in a bad position, you're going to have a really bad night. Do I want that anymore from my life? No, I absolutely don't, man. I don't even really, I try to avoid these situations now as much as I can. I'm 42 years old. I don't have time to be in the bar drinking and getting into trouble and stuff like that, man. I have Hungry Hill that I have to think about. I have, acting that I want to do. All these things that, all these negative things that are going on in the world today are only going to set me back. And I don't want to be set back. I want to move forward with my life,
So let's talk about the Hungry Hill thing. Sorry, Staxx.
Yeah, man.
All over you, but I'm really interested in this Hungry Hill thing. So kind of, if you can tell people about it.
So Hungry Hill, I already spoke a little bit about it. It's a story about an MMA fighter. The lead role is played by Pat Casey, who's actually a real MMA fighter.
Good kid. Real good kid.
Chicky got a message for you, Damien.
Hey, Chicky, how's that 400? You cocksucker.
These two make the funniest videos I have ever seen. Just that little snippet of you making poor Chicky wait out in the rain in your car with the door being locked. I'm telling you, you guys should all subscribe to Damien's channel. Damien's IG.
I'm sure he feels the same as I feel. It's a full-time job trying to watch over him on a daily basis, and it's a full-time job for him to try to watch over me. You know what I'm saying? He said he was with me. He said he was with me for a few hours yesterday. He said he wanted to fucking commit suicide. So what does that tell you? Okay, we drive each other nuts. It's a love-hate relationship with me and him. But we're like brothers, man. So I love Chicky, and he's got a case coming up. So let's all keep him in our prayers. So
absolutely.
He can move forward with his life, because that's what we want to do. We want to move forward with our lives and get past all this bullshit,
Yeah, absolutely. And Chicky, stick with Staxx, man. We're going to do everything we can to get you on that one show.
So Hungry Hill, man. So Hungry Hill is basically a story about an MMA fighter who comes from an Irish organized crime family. He's kind of surrounded by this life, right? But they're not, they're not flashy gangsters. They're wearing Carhartt and they're dressed up like construction workers, but they're doing the rackets. They're doing the Joker poker machines. They have their hands involved in loan sharking and gambling and these types of stuff. And this MMA fighter comes from this type of family, so he's battling within himself whether he wants to chase this dream to become a professional MMA fighter
Right.
or go gravitate towards the streets. There's some twists and there's some turns in the story that make this story really, really good. But ultimately, there's nothing like it. I mean, the best of both worlds. You have MMA, which is a huge trending thing right now. And then you have organized crime. Also, another beautiful thing about Hungry Hill is, for those of you that are sad that it's only about the Irish, it's not. We have the Italians mixed into this, and we have the flashy side. So what ends up happening, by the end of the first episode of my pilot, you're going to be in love with both crews. You're going to love the Italian crews, and you're going to love the Irish crews. By the way, Chicky Ciccatelli plays Sal Sorrento. Sal Sorrento is a Joe Pesci like character, but a very colorful guy who is a wise guy on the Italian side of things on the show. So I think I wrote the part specifically for Chicky. So it's going to be great, man. I'm excited. I'm excited to film. We film our Kickstarter next Wednesday. What our Kickstarter is going to be about is going to be just a brief synopsis of what we're raising the money for, what we need the money for. We need to raise $30,000 to get this project done.
Yep.
Then once we have the project completed and done, then we can shop it to major networks and say, hey, look, we did this with $30,000, fund the rest of this project and make this into a 6-part series. We want to do 6 episodes for the first season. So
that'll be dope.
Look, man, I'm not being told no. I'm driven. This is my dream. And I'm not going to have anybody tell me that I can't do it, because I've came very far since the beginning of this, you know.
When did you get into like the screenwriting and all that? Because
So
I'm real interested in that, man.
It's so fucking funny, man. It's like when I was on the set of Witsec Mafia, and my loyalty lies with John Jr. He's my dear friend. Anybody that badmouths him, I consider you not an enemy, but, you know, you're on the opposite side of things. John is my friend, you know. John is a great human being. He comes from a great family. It says something about John Jr. when he can have his son fight and 800 people come to the stadium to support him. Okay.
Right.
That says a lot about
Absolutely.
somebody, okay. So when people badmouth him and stuff like that, it's because, number one, he will never let these people that badmouth him get close to him. Okay. Number two, they don't have the balls to say it to him, because all these fights that we go to, nobody ever shows up. Nobody ever comes and says, hey, you're a rat or this or that. They don't do it. You know, we're not welcoming these people to come and do that, because we don't want any problems at the event when his son is fighting. But at the end of the day, it's like, why do this, that, and this on the internet if you have no balls to come and do it in face to face?
Exactly.
You know, it just doesn't even make any sense. So that's how I kind of got into the screenwriting, was through Witsec Mafia. I had my experience with the Flanagans before Witsec Mafia. Jeff Canarsie wrote the Flanagans, which was another brilliant script. It's supposed to be getting finished and completed. We filmed 98% of it. A couple scenes need to be reshot. But I got inspired by the Flanagans. I got inspired by Witsec Mafia, and I decided to write my own story, man. And it was a fucking nightmare. I'm not going to lie to you. It took me 6 months to write it. You know, look, it's one thing to write a story, but then have to put it in format to where serious people are going to take it serious and have it like a real script. Is a whole other animal. I mean, I was in this apartment up for 2-3 days at a time, sometimes with writer's block, you know, calling people, getting advice from people. But I had a lot of help from Brian Hoyle. Brian Hoyle is the co-writer on this project. Brian Hoyle is an amazing writer as well. I can't take all the credit for this project. If it wasn't for Brian Hoyle, the crime element and the crime aspect of this wouldn't be as good as it is. Brian did 16 years in federal prison, was with John Jr. and Raybrook for 5. He's my co-writer. He's my partner. We're 50-50 partners in this. So for me to sit here and say that I'm the only guy that made this happen, no. I had a team behind me. I had Ian Morales, another guy that helped me, Chicky Ciccatelli, Brian Hoyle, Chris Casparosa, all these people that are writers and all these people that have experience I reached out to, and they guided me through this process. It was a very difficult process, and I challenge anybody to try to do it. You know, it's not easy. So that's if that answers your question, I hope it does, man.
That's good, man. You know, you did your homework. You didn't just put out, you know, a half-assed job. You took your time. That's the way it should
And I
be.
rewrote it a bunch of times. You know, it got you know, it got revised. I think from the first time I wrote the first script to the time where it was finished, it got revised 10 times. You know, we changed it 10 different times to make it the things that we were missing. You know, you got to have twists, you got to have plots, you got to have a direction that it's going in to set up for the second episode. These are all important pieces of the puzzle that people don't understand. You got to leave it to where when people watch that first episode, they say, "Holy shit, what is going to happen next?"
Hell yeah.
Oh, what the fuck? I gotta see more. I have to. That's what we want. So we look forward to filming the Kickstarter next week, and we look forward to raising the money that we need to get this done, man. You know, we're adamant to raise this $30,000. You know, and we're grateful for anyone that helps make this.
Well, whatever you need, man. If I could help promote it or share it.
Oh yeah, we're gonna share the shit out of it.
I appreciate you guys. It means a lot, and anybody who else helps me, you know, who has helped me along the way, I'm very grateful, man. You know, I'm blessed. I have good people around me, and I try to keep it like that. You know, sometimes I get sidetracked and I make bad decisions. I'm human, you know.
Absolutely,
it's part of life, but ultimately, in life, you have to learn from your mistakes, and I'm working on learning from my mistakes every day. You know.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's pull up some comments, bro.
Yeah, let's get some questions from the people, man. You can pull them up on the screen.
As soon as I put a recording of Gene without knowledge of guys talking about this shit. Let me go back and see.
Can you read the comment out loud to me?
Yeah.
Beantown says as soon as I seen he put out a recording of Gene without the guy's knowledge, I knew he was a snake bastard. I think they're talking about that.
Wait, who did I put out a what?
No, he's talking about.
It's got nothing to do with you. That's some old shit. We're not even going to address it.
Okay, good. Yeah, I don't want to address any negativity.
No,
talking about negative bullshit. These people are irrelevant to me, and at the end of the day, man, they're crumbs. All right, that's what they are. They're crumbs.
Yep.
There's a lot of people that are just, they want to be where you're at. You know what I mean? You're at a level that people want to be there, so they just
listen, man. Look. I have my Hungry Hill Instagram page is open to the public. Well, not open to the public, but if you send me a message on my Hungry Hill Instagram, I'll try to respond to you and try to guide you in the right direction. Look, if I can help people have helped me along the way. That's part of becoming a better person every day. And that ultimately, look, good karma, right?
Absolutely. That's it.
He's talking about a new movie or show.
It's a TV show. It's a pilot for a TV show based on a neighborhood in Springfield, Massachusetts. It's called Hungry Hill. It's about an MMA fighter who grew up in this neighborhood. And there's the Italian mafia, the Russian mafia. There's a girl in it, and the story's great. Thin Gray Line. I sent Thin Gray Line the script.
Yep, he sent me it, so I have it, and I'm reading it as we speak. So, yeah.
Yeah, they're asking about if Chicky's related to somebody. I don't
Merlin?
Yeah, I don't want to get
it. I mean, it's all common knowledge. You can read about that. That's his nephew. Of course, I mean, you know, read it in the paper. The chances are that there's some of the stuff is true.
Boston J says Damien is a great guy, solid as they come.
God What's up, Boston J? Boston J is a friend of my dear friend, my brother, Steve Dunn, Steve the Sandman Dunn, who is a serious guy in his own right, and he plays Liam on my show, Hungry Hill. So I look forward to working with Steve again. Steve was in the cast of the Flanagans, so Steve's my brother.
Do you have a YouTube channel now?
I don't. I'm waiting for my podcast to drop. Then I'm going to create a YouTube channel with Patrick, and we're going to be basically doing our podcast. But we're not going to be talking about organized crime. We're not going to be talking about the mafia, street stuff, none of that bullshit. We might get a little into it depending on what kind of guests we have, but we're sticking to actors, rappers, and celebrities, people that are doing good in their life. We'd like to get people that are involved in TV shows and hip hop artists and stuff like that. And shout out to Cold Shoulder from Bensonhurst, Brooklyn, who made my theme song. You guys are in for a real treat when the podcast comes out. It's going to be really good, really professional. And
Chicky said, "Will you fight Martin Scorsese?"
I'll fight him for a part in his fucking movie, of course.
Right.
Chicky, let's get some questions from Chicky. I want questions from Chicky. Chicky's got good questions.
Yeah, he just dropped that one.
Would you like to see Gotti the Third versus Sean O'Malley in the cage?
No, I wouldn't like to see that fight. I think that Gotti's a 170-pound fighter and Sean O'Malley's a 145-pound fighter. It's a complete mismatch. If anyone thinks that Sean O'Malley would beat up John Gotti III, they are on some sort of drugs, because if John Gotti fights at 170, he probably walks around at about 200 pounds.
He's a big boy.
Because people cut weight to get to their weight division. Like when I was fighting at 155, I was cutting down from 170. People don't understand.
Put like a garbage bag on and let it soak off the sweat.
You cut 10 to 15 pounds of water weight. You step on the scale. You almost die doing it, and then you rehydrate yourself by the time you step in the cage. So when I was fighting at 155, I was getting in the cage. I was about 175 pounds when I fought the next day.
Does that make you feel like all lightheaded and woozy and all? Does it mess you up when you're doing that?
It's so fucking crazy, because my Bellator fight, my last fight of my career, the profile picture, the picture that you had on your video, that was from my last fight.
That was Bellator?
That was a fight. That was it was a Bellator fight. I fought at 155 in that fight, and I had to be carried. No, that's
that's the wrong one.
Third.
I put up the wrong picture.
Pull up the other one. But anyway, I stepped on the scale, but I had to be carried to the scale, and I honestly thought that I was going to have to go to the emergency room. I thought I was going to die from cutting weight.
Dangerous shit, man. It's definitely dangerous.
Your body starts to shut down, man. You just do this. Just if you ever want to know what cutting weight feels like, go sit in a sauna, right? And try to lose 10 pounds or 10 to 15 pounds in 24 hours, and you can't have any liquid or food. Okay? You can't drink liquid or food for 24 hours. So you have to fast for 24 hours, and you have to sit in the sauna. Sitting in a sauna alone without water is very dangerous. Okay?
Yeah.
So
because you're depleting what little water you already have stored in your body.
Your body starts to deteriorate before you. You look like a fucking skeleton. That's why when you see these guys step on a scale, look at what Conor McGregor used to look like when he used to fight at 145.
Sickly.
His face used to be sunken in because he looked like a crackhead, but that's because he was cutting weight, you know.
Right. I know what it's kind of like, because I had to cut water right before my show, so I know that fucking feeling. It's brutal.
Thank you for answering my question, bud. It was no malice, just a legit question. My name's the same, both from Springfield, so salute for answering.
Oh no, I just didn't understand the question. That's all, man. No disrespect. Much respect to you, brother.
He said, "Ask him." Chicky said, "What was up with the guy at the light yesterday? Did you get into it with somebody at a light or something?"
Did he just say gas can, Chicky?
Yes. That was earlier. Yeah, I seen that earlier.
Oh my God, this guy. This guy's nuts.
Somebody else said something good though.
He's funny, man.
He's crazy.
NBA in the button, man. What's up, man? Tom.
Oh, those guys are on?
Tom LaVecchia, yeah.
Oh, shout out to those guys.
Looking for truth. They're like talking to each other, you know?
McGregor, you get that a lot.
Yo, let's get some questions, because I got to wrap this up. I got maybe like 5 more minutes.
All right, I got one right here.
Well, no, I got 15 minutes. I can do 15 minutes.
Do you think MMA should cut weight more gradually, like boxing do?
Yeah, I think that they should have, they should have more catch weight, like champions. Like, you know, you could fight at 160 instead of 155. Like they should have every 5 pounds they have a new weight division, you know?
But that really depends on the matchmaking and when the matches get made. So
What's up,
the amount of
NBA
time
and the
you
button
have
man?
to make weight, it depends on the time, you know, the time that you have to make that fight.
Why should you have to drop that much weight that late? Was it due to problems during training, injury leading up?
It's part of the sport. Everybody cuts weight. Everybody's trying to look to get an edge. They're trying to be the bigger man in the cage. That's why they cut weight.
You're trying to be the biggest
You're
man
trying to be the biggest,
at the lightest weight possible.
At the lightest weight possible. That's
Correct.
why all the fighters do it. You know, it's a wrestling thing. Some wrestlers cut 18 pounds. So I mean,
it's similar to like putting weights on your hands and swinging the weight on your hand, right? It's it's conditioning yourself.
You're just trying to get an advantage, basically.
Correct.
Yeah.
In the ring. You're trying to be heavier and bigger. That's all.
It's like when Connor was doing when he was in like the 155 division, he was always the biggest guy in that division.
Exactly.
It helped him out big time.
Sandbox, he chews up people. Someone said Damien challenged Sonny Money. No, he did not challenge him.
This guy right here is a troll, Johnny boy. He was in the room talking crazy shit.
Yeah, there's a couple trolls in this.
Bro, listen, man. Get a life, man. You guys really think that I'm gonna fight Sonny Money? He's a fucking little kid. He's a drug addict. What kind of guy would I be if I hit a kid like that? I mean, come on, man. I'm not a fucking bully. The kid clearly has some mental problems. Okay.
What the next
Grow
question?
Up and get a life.
What platform will your podcast be on? And they're looking forward to hearing it.
Honestly, I don't know. That's not something that me and Patrick have actually talked about. Right now, what we're doing is we're setting up the studio. We're planning how the studio is going to look, the wallpaper that we're going to put. We're doing it at his house in Staten Island. He's got a basement. He's got a good space for it. We're getting a table. We're doing it all professional. Microphones. It's going to look very, very professional. When we drop it, it's gonna be like, wow, this is real. This is legit.
Yeah, you know? He's got Patrick with him. I mean, it's gonna be bangers every episode.
Patrick wants to do it right, and he's right. I don't want it. I wouldn't have it any other way.
They said, what happened to the video from yesterday?
We explained it at the beginning. It was choppy. It was glitchy. It wasn't clear. So.
Then he was doing a walk and talk, so it got.
Yeah, it was doing a walk and talk, and not only that, like it was just too much ranting about these people that are irrelevant, you know.
And it was unplanned, you know. Those things happen. So
yeah,
you guys are getting
Island in the house.
Yeah, Staten Island in the house, man. I love Staten Island. I got friends in Staten Island, and I love Staten Island. Staten Island, I get treated very well when I go to Staten Island. I have very good friends there.
Chicky, it's going to be great.
Chicky, we can't wait for you to get back out and you can start putting out content.
Yeah, man. I mean, look, the original plan was going to be me, Chicky, and Patrick. When Patrick had originally called me about the idea, it was to have him in on the fold with us. But due to the fact that he's under an indictment right now, he can't go on YouTube. You know, he can't do videos and stuff like that. It doesn't make sense to do it with him at the beginning. We're going to wait until he's all wrapped up, and then we'll bring him into the fold, you know? We have a really good idea for Chicky. We might end up doing sports picks with him, and we'll have picks with Chick, where he does his own sports picks because he used to be a big bookmaker. He knows the sports world. So we might have it to where he does like a segment about his picks and stuff like that, and you pay a fee to get his picks because he is a really good handicapper. Yeah.
I didn't know that about you, Chicky.
Yeah, Chicky was a handicapper for a lot of years, and he made a lot of money with sports. So
Andrew White says, my wife and I are trying to get into better shape and do something positive with ourselves. Is there any particular discipline you could recommend? Any martial arts or fighting for regular people?
Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, man. Don't be afraid by the name of it. Don't be intimidated by the gym. You're going to go in there. You're going to feel like home. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is like a family. When you walk into the academy, you know, you're going to be treated like family. Nobody's going to be in there looking to beat you up. It's going to be, it's a brotherhood. It's, you know, Jiu-Jitsu is amazing.
It's more like self-defense, right?
It's for self-defense, man.
Yeah, it takes a lot of endurance, man.
It was created for people, women, children, people of all ages, all walks of life, all body shapes. So, you know, depending on what you're looking to do is what you get out of it. You know, look, the way when I trained it, I was looking to fight, so I trained with more of the aggressive people that were at the gym. But you know, they tend to pair you up with people that are looking to do the same type of thing that you're looking to do. Right. So I recommend Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu to anybody.
And if you're like really uncomfortable with certain things, or you think that's too much of a step for you, you could try something as simple as like cardio kickboxing. A lot of gyms do cardio
exactly.
kickboxing.
If you don't like the grappling aspect of it, go do cardio kickboxing. You know, some people don't. They feel claustrophobic when they're wrestling with people.
And a lot of people with the, you know, all worried about the pandemic and whatever, and don't want to roll around with people or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
I would my suggestion would be like a cardio kickboxing class, a cycling class, or just get in the gym and just start doing things.
Go to a boxing gym and work one-on-one with the instructor and have him hold pads for you. That's a great workout too. And you're learning how to hit, you know.
Absolutely. Or find a place with a pool and start doing laps, because swimming is the best cardio you can ever do.
Absolutely.
Period.
Someone said looking for the truth. Royce Gracie and his family is a master of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
I got my blue and my purple belt from Royce Gracie. He was a very, very good friend of mine. We've been out of touch for a few years now because I don't have my personal Instagram anymore. He doesn't know that I operate a Hungry Hill Instagram. I have his number on my old phone, but I haven't even called him. He used to, when he was in town and he would do seminars, I would take him out for a night on the town. We would go to dinner and stuff like that. We were very good.
Take him to the hot dog cart.
Yeah, I would take him.
A lot of people don't know the Gracies were really prevalent around our area. They hung around the area a lot.
Yeah, so
spent a lot of time around here.
Yeah, it was an honor to be in his presence. He's a really good guy, and he's an amazing martial artist, and he's a legend. So,
and I believe you mentioned a while ago, did you roll around with Gabriel Gonzaga?
Yeah, I did.
Ooh-wee. That's a big boy.
He was 265, 270 when I used to train with him, and he used to do this move. It was called the baby cradle. He used to do it to everybody. He would get on the side of you, and he would put his arms. He would put one arm underneath your legs and one arm underneath your head, and he would pick you up like a baby, and he'd go like this and grab you. So
hold you in half.
And he would go like this and squeeze you, and it would feel like your insides were going to explode, and you would just tap. He was that strong.
It's like a forklift.
He would do it to grown men, and he would go like this, and he would rock you, and he would laugh while he was doing it.
That is a big boy.
Scary guy, man. His hands are like the size of catcher's mitts, okay?
And his fucking head was huge.
Yo, dude, he's the strongest human being I've ever trained with.
Ugh.
Nice. I used to watch him beat the shit out of a way bigger fighters back.
Yeah.
The Gracies used to whoop a lot of big fighters' ass because of their technique. Their technique was impeccable. Nobody had an answer for it.
Well, listen, man, jiu-jitsu is all about leverage. It's not about
Ludlow Team Link.
Yeah, that's where I used to train.
That's Ludlow.
I'm a brown belt from Marco Alvan from Team Link. I got my brown belt from him. So yeah, Marco's a great guy, good school, and that's it, man.
And Pat is still with Team Link, or is he?
Pat Casey is still with Team Link.
Okay.
And he trained at the Grit Grizzly Academy, which is a wrestling academy.
Paulie Walnuts wants to know: are you still interested in fighting Gene?
No comment.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? I got another one. Were you in WITSEC with Paulie Malignaggi?
Paulie Malignaggi wasn't in WITSEC Mafia. He was in Gravesend.
Oh, okay.
You were in Gravesend, right?
No, I wasn't in Gravesend. Nope.
No.
Was
Paulie around you guys at all?
That's a show that I wanted an opportunity to act in. I never was given an opportunity to act in it. It's not out of the cards. I mean, you never know what the future holds.
And when WITSEC comes out, they're going to see
William DeMeo, I tip my hat to William DeMeo. He put together a show. He got a series done. That's hard to fucking do, man. People don't realize how hard that is to do. He acts, he produced, he wrote. I mean, that says something, you know, whether people like him or not. Everyone has different opinions about the guy. I don't know the guy well enough to comment on him, but he got a series done. So you can say what you want about him. You can hate all you want, but that says something that he got something done, you know?
Absolutely.
Well, the Hungry Hill series, man, I've been hearing about that, and it's got a buzz, man.
Yeah. So I'm gonna end up sending you the script, Staxx, so you can read it and tell me what you think.
Yeah,
you have it too, right? Thin Gray Line. I want you to read it, and you guys let me know exactly what you think.
I got you.
But hey, I want to take this time to say thank you for everybody for tuning in and everything. I gotta fly. I have some things I have to do. Staxx, thank you so much. We can do it again when it gets closer, and you can help me hopefully promote Hungry Hill a little bit more when the time is right.
Definitely.
Thank you, Thin Gray Line. You're the man, Staxx. I love everybody.
Anytime.
Have a great night. Okay.
Anytime, brother.
Thank you, man.
Salute.
Later, bro.
All right.
What's up, man?
Good show. Another good show.
Great.
Damien's a class act, man. I love the guy. I love talking to the guy. It's always a good experience, when I'm dealing with him. And Chicky is hilarious, as you know, because you talk.
Both of them, man. Both of them are funny as hell, man.
Honestly, like this whole genre, YouTube in general, is missing out right now with missing Chicky's material, because that dude is one of the funniest dudes I've ever seen. So I cannot wait till he can get back on here and start putting his stuff out, because it's fucking hilarious.
Kensington from Connecticut, or Kingston from Connecticut, says, where's the Omen from? Springfield.
He is from Springfield. Yep.
So people keep talking about this debate, man. Salute, Damien. Great show. About that, something about a debate.
Okay, so I got a text message. I'm gonna bring it up right now if you want to get involved into this whole debate thing. So I just got a text message saying that there's a debate this coming Monday. So what's the date on Monday? It is
Monday.
The 13th. Monday the 13th. Thank God it's not Friday the 13th. All right. It's Monday the 13th at 8:00 on Staxx's channel. There's going to be a debate. Guess who it's between? Any guesses? Does the chat room have any guesses who this debate is between? Anyone?
Thank you, Tommy Argro. I appreciate you, man.
So apparently this debate is between FBS, the Fatball Sicilian, and Lee Cole.
We'll see what happens, man.
This is the big
pinnacle.
Fight. Yep. This is the big pinnacle, the big debate where they both, hey, listen, they need to air out whatever they need to air out. Whatever needs to get settled, because, you hate to see two guys have to go through this stuff. And, I hope it can all just be put to bed and put to rest and finally.
It kind of puts a wrench in things, man. Like you're moving at a good pace, and then boom, it's like, what the fuck? I mean, they don't got nothing on me no more, man. They got that video. What else can they do to me? Nothing,
The best thing for you and what you're doing right now is just to stay the course. You're doing your thing, staying out of all that drama. I mean, that's all I keep preaching, is to stay out of the drama. It doesn't do anything for you. It does nothing but give you agita, give you headaches, give you stress, and for what?
So what are they gonna? What are they? So Lexi wants to know: are you still doing Lee's channel?
I'm not doing anyone's channel, Lexi. I'm not, and I never was. I was never tied to anyone. It was basically like a probationary period. I was trying it out. I was going to try a couple episodes with Lee, see how things went, and everything was going great. Everything was going fine. I enjoyed myself on Lee's channel. But what I said at the very first episode, if you guys remember, on the very first interview that we did, I said, if there's going to be drama, there is no thin gray line, period.
What's this mean? Don't bitch, we'll see. What's that mean? Well,
who's writing that?
We'll see. I don't know, man. SP, what the hell does that mean? Staxx, don't bitch, we'll see. The fuck does that mean?
I don't know. SP is usually pretty good. Like he's not a hater, so I don't know what that means. But everybody just needs to stay tuned and let these two, do what they got to do. It's between them. That's what you guys got to understand.
I don't know what the hell is going on, but we're going to find out.
Exactly. Listen, It's
we're
between
gonna
them.
put the ring in. I'll put the ring in, right?
Hell yeah, that's what this is, right? We're in the
Yeah,
octagon right now. We're sitting in the ring, so
yeah.
we're gonna put them in the ring. I'm gonna be on here just to kind of be like a referee and a moderator. Staxx is your host, and we're gonna let the two of them air it out.
Staxx FBS won't have Lee on his show or going to Lee's show. The only
All
way
that
we do
listen,
it
none of
is
that,
somebody
none of
else.
that matters. All of that.
I'm a neutral party. I'm a neutral party between both of these guys. I don't particularly like Lee, but I'm not.
Which then you would say is in
I got
FBS's
nothing.
favor,
I got nothing
if
against.
anything.
I got nothing against Lee. It really, I'm cool with FBS. I don't call Lee ever. I don't even know him like that. Never talk to him on the phone. No, I don't want no relationship with that dude. And I'm gonna bring them both on, and they can hatch out their differences, and then we'll see what happens.
Yeah, and just let me reiterate yet again, so I can just put this to bed. I never ever signed no contract with Lee. I never committed to a certain amount of shows with Lee. It was literally a trial and error thing. I was there to try to help out, grow the channel in a different way, and kind of just give my professional opinion on things. Right? I can't offer much towards the mafia genre. That's not my expertise. I don't know much about the mafia, and truthfully, I don't want to know much about the mafia. It's old. It's over. It's done. It's over with. There really is no real mafia anymore. So to stay in that and try to embellish with that and get caught up in all this drama, that ain't for me. So what really interests me is people that were incarcerated, people that did prison time, how they reformed themselves, what they're doing positive with their lives now that they're out, and their experiences inside. I want to know what it was like for you inside. How did you cope with things? What were the things that you thought about? Did you get a job while you were in? Who did you think about when you were in? Who was the phone call you were making while you were in there? Those are the types of things I'm interested in. And then
I can tell you some good stories, man.
and like I said, you're going to probably be my first guest. So let me just say it here, say it now. I've thought about it. I've talked to a bunch of people. More often than not, and a lot of you guys in the chat room have said, start your own channel, So let me just say it. I will be starting my own channel. I don't know when. I haven't set a date yet or anything.
Can't for now. Can't you just have them
Yes.
subscribe to the Thin Gray Line and
subscribe to the Thin Gray Line. If you go on YouTube and you type in Thin Gray Line, that will be my channel. You can go ahead and sub. I'll have Staxx drop the link here off of this episode, and you can guys start subbing to me. I'll truly appreciate it. And some of you have been nothing but supportive of me from the jump. So I promise from you, whatever I do, and when I do start, it will be A1 material. I'm not putting out garbage. I'll promise you that.
Has Thin Gray Line been on 23-1?
No, but your boy Staxx has, and
I let him know about him, so we'll see what happens.
We're gonna try to get that. We're gonna try to make that happen. That would be a huge thing for me if I can get on his show. Huge.
Trying to make the donuts, Chicky said.
Chicky's hilarious. I love Chicky, man. That dude's material is great. If I ever get the opportunity to have Chicky on, the second he's able to come on the show, I'm grabbing him. I'm gonna have him and Damien on. Definitely gonna have you on, Staxx, but Chicky's gonna be one of the first interviews. If you're not my first, Chicky's gonna be my first, or vice versa, because that dude, I want to hear his story more than anybody.
Damien said, "Just don't eat them, chick." Nicole is paranoid and delusional.
Listen, guys, save all that Lee Cole FBS stuff for Monday night. You can air all that shit out on Monday night. You could talk about
they want a
whatever
backyard
you want.
match.
Jesus
with his
Christ.
Fruity Looms on. I don't know. I don't want to see that. I don't know who wants to see that.
No.
Yeah, hopefully you can get on hopefully you can get on 23-1. That would be really good, man.
He's a big boy in this industry, bro. I'd love to. Got over 600,000 subs, man. I'll jump all over that in a heartbeat.
And I think I had around 800 subscribers when I did his show. He was really instrumental in me getting where I am today. If it wasn't for DOC TV, Lockdown 23-1, Florida Prison Talks, there's a lot of different ones, but 23-1 really helped me, man. My subscribers went way up. And then when I got rid of the dead weight, my subscribers went up too.
That's
You
dope.
know what I mean?
That's dope. So yeah, guys, go sub to me at Thin Gray Line, and stay.
They
stay
said I
tuned.
can't find your channel. I'll get the link and I'll put it in the description. I'll find it.
I'll have Staxx drop the link, and I think I still need to go ahead and change some of the settings in there. You gotta talk to me and tell me what I gotta do.
I got you.
All right.
Yeah, we'll get that going, man. And definitely make sure you guys stay tuned for tonight at 8 o'clock.
Oh, you got a big guest coming on, huh?
Yeah, man.
You got the man, the myth, the legend. He's coming on.
Pretty much.
That'll be
let me see if I can find your link, because people want it now, man. Thin Gray Line. Is it Thin Gray Line or the Thin Gray Line?
It should be just Thin Gray Line. And make sure you subscribe to Damien's IG. Hit Damien up at his IG. I think it's Damien Trites, right? Or no, it's Hungry Hill.
Thin Gray Line. Damn. I don't know. I see you on my channel. I see you. I'm gonna have to have you send it to me or something, bro.
All right. Well, just come back and hit this video, guys, and we'll have my channel linked to this video.
I'll put it in the description.
Jason T, thank you, brother. I appreciate it. And I'm looking forward to putting out content for you guys. And like I said, it's going to be more around the prison stuff, people that were locked up, and how they are now moving forward, how they rectified themselves, what they're doing positive.
Are you going to interview some people that are in prison
hell
still?
Yeah.
Like have them call and stuff?
Yeah. I'm trying to listen. When I was inside, I was around some big boys, right? Like I said, I think it was on the first interview I did with Lee. I talked about how this guy Magic, who was one of the highest ranking Latin Kings in Connecticut, like he was #1 in the state. His name was Magic. He had dreads and shit. Cool ass dude, bro. I got along with him great. Me and him respected each other, and it was just a mutual respect thing. And I got nothing but good things to say, because the guy never disrespected me. Never seen him do a bad thing. I never dug up his record. I didn't want to see what he was in for, because that's not my job. I don't want to know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm there judging you as a man who's in front of me right now. That's what I look at.
And that's how all the correction officers should look at the job, I think. A lot of them.
It's how they should. That's the professional thing to do. But some of these guys, they take it upon themselves to go look up their inmate number and find out their docket and all this shit. That for what? For what? Listen, the child molesters, and the diddlers and all that. I understand that aspect, because I got nothing for dudes like that. But at the same time, I don't want to know that either, because if I know that about him, or I know that about somebody that is a child molester, how do you think I'm going to treat him? And now I'm putting my job at risk, because there's no way I can fucking treat that guy with some dignity, but I have to.
There was a time, right? I was in one of them jails up there in the Enfield region, and I was talking.
I got you, Yankees for life. I got you, brother.
I was talking to this dude, and the CO came over, and he goes, "Hey, I just got a phone call. Your son just got hit by a 18-wheeler and got killed. You got to go to the priest's office." And the dude starts flipping out, crying, smashing shit. And then the cop goes, "I was just joking."
No.
He let it soak in for about 10 minutes, let the dude flip out and smash shit, punch the locker. And then he's like, "I was just joking. It's April Fool's." Like, that's the type of shit they would do.
Listen, bro, that kind of karma. If that CO wants to be that much of a dirtbag and have that kind of karma on his conscience, then God bless you, bro.
Has there ever been times when you were around other COs and maybe they crossed the line and you're like, dude, what the fuck are you doing? Or where you had to check somebody?
Did we have COs that were a little too much? Absolutely. Of course. There's always there's always that tackleberry, that wannabe tough cop, RoboCop type dude that, thinks he's Buffalo Bill. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, he's gonna find all the contraband. He's gonna do
Clint Eastwood. He's Judge Dredd. Like they think they're the badass dude in there because they think they hold some authority. But bro, we're just COs. We're in here. All we really are is glorified babysitters. It's really all we are, right? We're just babysitting people.
Yeah,
we're making sure that they're living and breathing
order, basically.
Yes, that's it.
Keep them in there.
For the guys that take it too serious, listen, it's a serious place. It's a serious environment. So you should take it serious. But don't take your authority more serious than it is. And some guys get it caught up and get it twisted and want to, step into things that are out of pocket. That's not the lane you should be in. Like I said, you're not the fucking judge. They've already been judged. They've already been sentenced. So your job is to just babysit. Stay the fuck away from punishing them any further and stay the fuck away from judging them because that's not your job.
So there was this another time, right? They were doing a shakedown or something, and this dude threw a battery at a cop. Whizzed right by his head, man. It almost hit him. So the cop looks over and he sees me in the area where the battery came from. It wasn't me. I didn't throw the battery.
Yeah.
And Staxx, what's your opinion on those platforming rats? I don't have an opinion, man. I put people on my show. So someone threw the battery. It wasn't me. So they called Chow. I go to Chow, right? I'm like one of the last people in line. So I'm walking and I look up and this cop's just grilling me in my face. So, I'm not gonna like look away or look down. I'm just staring at him back. And he goes, "What the fuck are you looking at?" And he said it loud so everybody could hear him and shit, And I go, "I'm looking at a fucking pig."
Yeah.
And everyone started laughing and it made him look like stupid, man. I was like talking shit to him. So then I get my lunch or whatever it was. I eat. I go back to the dorm. And then they call me for a job to buff the floors. Yep. Who is my supervisor? This dude. He's the supervisor. I'm like, fuck, man. I'm in for it now. So then once we got acquainted, started talking, this dude's like, he had like a totally different perception of who I was. And then we became cool, man. Like he had no problem with me after,
That's the way it should have been from the jump. It should have never been a problem in the first place. So for him to call you out and say that and listen, you don't ever want to put an inmate in that position to where you're putting him in a position to where you have to act, right? So he called you out saying, "What the fuck are you looking at?" Now you have all your homeboys around you. How are you going to react to that situation? Are you going to let that CO talk to you however you want?
You can't.
You're gonna be a bitch and put your tail between your legs.
See that. They're gonna see that and be like,
you're putting him in a position he's putting you in a position to make you come back even harder now, or you're gonna have more problems, right?
And once they're all
gonna be talking shit, calling you a bitch. That you just let a CO punk you out.
Yeah, so, you can't do it.
It's the worst thing you could do to an inmate. And again, that's that unprofessionalism that I just don't get down with, dog. I don't fuck with that. I never have. That's not my MO.
Did you find a lot of drugs when you were in prison? Like
no. I didn't find a lot of drugs. I think the one time I walked in the bathroom one time when I was doing a tour and it stunk like someone just smoked weed, bro. It was so obvious. But guess what? The beautiful thing was I didn't see it. I don't know. There was no evidence on the floor or anything like that, so I didn't have to do the
Yeah,
paperwork.
but then you know the lieutenant makes rounds and shit.
Yeah,
But
and guess what? Okay, do you want to go and review the tapes and find out however many inmates, especially if it, like, let's just say everybody's coming back from rec, 130 dudes are coming back from rec. Do you want to go review the tape and then pull out 130 dudes and piss test them all to find out who's smoking?
they would do that though, right?
Oh, there's some that will, but guess who's not? This guy. I don't
Yeah.
have time for that shit. If I don't catch you in the act, I'm good, bro. It ain't hurting nobody.
How about did they have? They didn't have contact visits when you were there.
Sure, they did.
They did.
Absolutely. And you want to know what the worst part of that is for us?
What?
What happens after a visit?
People get
Before you go back to your
emotional.
dorm, what do you got to do?
You got to strip search them again.
Nuts and butts.
Nuts and butts.
Nuts and butts. You got to strip down, and that's the worst part, bro. That
Bro,
is
so humiliating.
It's humiliating for you guys, of course it is, but it's also fucking miserable and torture for us because we got to look at that nasty shit. Do you think I want to look at your fucking nasty ass?
What is it? It's just protocol for them, right?
It is, because that is, if anything's coming in, like if your visitor comes in and is trying to pass anything off, more often than not, that's where it's coming from. So that's where you really got to be, do your due diligence and get thorough. I ain't getting thorough on shit. If I don't see nothing ain't falling out, bro, you can have it. If you want to stick, listen, if you want to stick something up your culo to bring it back, God bless you. It's yours, brother. Keep it.
You got a good job.
I don't want it. You can have it. Congratulations. Keep it fucking moving. I'm good. Congratulations.
So, have you worked around the visiting room?
Oh yeah, there's no post for it, but like you have a visiting post, but it's more or less like when there's not visiting going on, you're doing chow breaks for other officers. You're watching rec when they're out in the big yard, stuff like that. But yeah, sure, I've been on plenty of visits, plenty. But like I said, a lot of guys used to complain when I had the visiting post because a lot of them didn't like bringing their wives or their girlfriends around me.
Right?
Yeah, I'm dead ass serious, bro. I actually got called to the warden's office one time and going, why is it that we're hearing complaints that these particular inmates will not have their visitors come when you're working?
They're jealous, man.
How is that my fault, man? How is that my fault? I'm not the one slipping numbers to them. They're slipping the numbers to me. So I don't want to hear that shit. But yeah, it's comical, bro. It's comical. That was my one leverage on these guys. You know, if any one of those guys that used to bring their wives or their wives would come,
you're like, don't get it fucked up.
And they felt some type of way towards me, dude, all the time. So I'm like, who's coming on Thursday? I'll make sure I put some cologne on for her. Don't worry. You know, you fuck with them like that. You know?
Oh man. Yeah, I heard they're closing another facility in Connecticut, man. Rogowski.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised, man.
This morning.
Be surprised.
I'm like,
there's a big push to get more people out, do more programs, get people into more treatment things, and start cutting down prisons.
I mean, it would be a good thing, man, because
Miss can't be wrong. I appreciate you. Thank you very much for that.
You're seeing them too, right? You're Gray. You're easy on the eyes, man.
Thank you very much. It's sweet.
I would never put nothing in my ass. Just ain't doing it.
I truly don't know how people do it, bro.
Me either.
Like I said,
it ain't happening.
If you want to go that far, you deserve it. Good luck. Have fun.
Yeah. So back then when you were working, there wasn't a lot of cell phones, right?
When I first started, no. I mean, it was so taboo, you just didn't see it. Never saw it. But right when I got hurt, literally right when I got hurt, it was just starting to pick up, just starting to get hot with that. And that's when they got the Labradors. Actually, it was lab dogs that they have that could sniff out the battery in the phone. And yeah, bro. But a lot of the COs would get paranoid because a lot of the COs have their own cell phones in their cargo pocket, right? So they would always like turn to the side, whatever phone, whatever side their phone was on, they would always stand on that side. That's
yeah, but can't they
the
just make the cops keep their phone not when they're working, like keep it like before they go into the prison? Can't they?
You're not supposed to bring it in, period. Phones are a federal offense to bring inside of a prison, any prison.
Whether you're an inmate or a CO.
Doesn't matter.
But they still would do it.
Of course. Some do it. Some do it. I mean, dude, listen, rules are always meant to be bent. Everybody bends them. It's just inevitable. You know what I mean? To each their own, Whoever wants to do that and bring it in, they're assuming the risk, right? They know the consequences, they know the penalties. And COs get jammed up for it all the time. They get written up. They usually get like a day suspension without pay. They take it on the chin and keep it moving. You're either going to learn from it or you're not.
Yeah, when I was in prison, there wasn't a lot of phones, man. There was not a lot of cell phones. You barely ever see that shit.
Now, as you see, there's all these TikTok videos,
crazy
videos. They're all over the place.
I'll bring one up. How about that?
What up, fellas? Thin Gray Line. What is your view on the Rats shows? I don't have a view, brother. I just don't. Like, if that's what interests these guys and that's the channel they want to provide and whatever entertainment they're trying to provide, then I wish them nothing but the best. It's just that's not my cup of tea. I don't really have a comment for that because it's not my thing. I'm not interested in it.
All right, this is in Alabama.
It's time to help people customize and
Do you have the video though? Because they got to see what it's like to actually see inmates inside the prison on their cell phone, and they're posting this stuff. It's
crazy.
It's fucking crazy, man.
All right, boom. Can you see it?
Yes. Yep. That's crazy, bro.
Philadelphia Eagles. I understand that it's my job to catch the ball.
You know what's crazy is the fact that like there's editing involved. That's what's crazy. And if you guys that are watching this don't understand the security breach that this is, then you guys don't understand how bad.
Yeah, I mean, you could call someone to come break you out, right?
You can tell someone the layout of the prison. You can tell someone when you're going to be outside during rec. You can tell someone where you're going to be during a visit. You can tell people when the COs are doing their rounds. You can tell information about the CO. Hey, the CO is wearing this. He's got this hat on. He drives this car. There's a million things that are security breaches that cell phones provide, and it's a big problem in the prisons today. Very big.
I don't know what they're doing to that guy. Like torturing him.
And look how old this guy is. You know what I mean?
Get in there with him.
But here's the problem. Where the fuck are the COs?
Yeah.
Why are they not doing their rounds, number one? Or two, there should be a rover officer, right? So every dorm, if there's a dorm like this, I promise you there's 3 cops to this dorm. You have the bubble cop who's inside the bubble, and then you have an A and a B side. So you have 1 cop roaming each side. Where the fuck is the roamer cop? Where is he at? And guess what? This guy has a huge lawsuit to push against the state. Whatever state this, you said this is Alabama?
Yeah. So when I was in prison, the rumor was you couldn't sue unless they gave you permission to sue.
I never heard of that. Let's put it this way, bro. If there's negligence, which this is pure negligence, right? Because there's post orders for every post. So whatever dorm that this guy is in and these guys are in, there are post orders for that dorm. And it usually means you got to do 30-minute tours or 15-minute tours, whatever kind of dorm this is. And if that cop is 1 minute late for that tour, if he's at 31 minutes and 1 second or 30 minutes and 1 second, he's now considered late for that tour. So if something happened between those 29 seconds and 59 or 29 minutes and 59 seconds, if anything happened in between there and you didn't catch it before the 30 minute is up, you are susceptible to lawsuit. So people don't realize, and these COs don't realize how important it is to follow those post orders and to do your tours and to make sure that these guys are okay. Because these things happen all the time. It's fucking prison. It's not, we're not here at Bible study. This is prison. So these things happen. And yeah, the poor guy, you know, how old is he?
Yeah, man.
First of all, that guy, the whole what the fuck's it? Classification department, why is that guy in that dorm? I don't care if he is unsentenced.
Yeah, I ended up
an unsentenced dorm.
The video ended up freezing, man, and I had to.
Yeah, it's all good. But I'm just saying, even if that old man is unsentenced, he shouldn't be inside that dorm with everybody else. They should have put him in a different dorm.
Moderating the debate.
Staxx and I will be moderating the debate. Yes, but mainly Staxx.
It's gonna be great.
I might bow the fuck out. I don't even know if I want to get involved. I don't know.
I might bow the fuck out. I'll just let them go on my channel and do it, man.
Yeah, right. No, you got to be there. And be the moderator.
What is it, Ramundi? No, yeah, I got it. Ramundi number 1, Ramundi number 2 are actually pretty funny. Yeah, they got that's not really Ramundi that's commenting.
Yeah, that's not him. That's the same guy that's in everybody's chat room making comments like that. Like I said,
what's the deal with timeouts? I didn't troll. I didn't put you on a timeout. Someone else must have.
You got to remember, guys.
I know I put that little funny money on a timeout, man.
But the chat's got to remember this. When somebody's reading your message, whatever you're typing, we don't know the intentions you have, right? All we're doing is reading. So we have to assume for ourselves what you mean by what you say. So make sure you type and be very specific and clear of what you're trying to say, because if somebody takes it the wrong way, it's most likely going to get deleted or you're going to get in timeout or whatever. So be very precise, type clearly, and really be specific to what you're trying to get across, because sometimes it's hard for us to read what what the point you're trying to make. And if we take it wrong, that's probably because you weren't that specific. So just try to be a little bit more specific, and then, you know, things won't get lost in translation.
Yeah, because then when I read the comments,
I gotta make this phone call.
Yeah, I gotta go make some food too. Thank you guys for joining us, and make sure you stay tuned for 8 o'clock with Luciano. It'll be good. And Lee Cole and Fatball Sicilian on Monday at 8 o'clock, right?
Yeah, I think it's Monday at 8. Monday at 8 on your channel.
In a couple days, we'll do another one.
Absolutely, brother. It's good chopping it up with you guys.
So make sure you hit the like, subscribe, and notification bells every time they drop. Peace, man.
Salute. Peace, bro.
See you later, everybody. Have a good one, bro.